Welcome to the final whistle, everybody. As you can see, we got a star-studded show. I'm Matt Caddell with my co-host Chris James, the one and only final whistle Dan, and Justin Riley, the Bama standard. You know how it is. And we got a legend, everybody. As you see, the one and only Erwin Dudley. We feel like we need to bring the big wigs out for March Madness to celebrate Alabama, going to the national championship, going into the Final Four, winning the SEC. We got the SEC legend, everybody. Erwin Dudley, how are you today, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. How you guys are doing?
Man, we're doing great, bro.
Great, brother.
Glad to have you on, man. It's just feel like a little kid, man. The legend, Erwin.
The big dog on campus.
I know, right?
SEC player of the year,
so
folks.
many moons ago, man.
No.
Man, if you say that, you're calling me old too. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, Erwin, I ain't gonna say old this season. I say season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Refined. We're gonna say refined.
Hey, Erwin, that game when y'all beat Florida at the buzzer for the seal the SEC title, I think I was the first one on the floor. I ran out on that floor so fast.
Man,
I remember chest bumping Kenny Walker.
That game right there was unbelievable. Though.
Yes, it was.
Best game ever, man.
Yeah. That's when Florida, they really like doing that era.
Yeah,
they really had some players that come through there.
Right.
They had some
play
really.
against did you play
Udonis
against
Haslem?
Connor, Dupay,
Matt Bonner. What's
David
Matt
Lee?
Bonner? What's the little guard is?
David
Lee was there.
was a beast.
Yep, he was there. They had another guard too. Another guard too could really shoot the ball really well. I forgot his name, but they had James White was there.
Mike, what's his name? I can't remember.
Was
Mike
Harvey
Miller?
there? Oh, he was gone by then. You played against Donnell.
Yeah, I played against Donnell.
Yeah.
I played against him all through high, like AAU and stuff. AAU stuff.
So sorry, Bama fans, we didn't mean to talk about the Gators. So we're gonna talk about Alabama. We're gonna talk about Alabama, the Crimson Tide, Alabama basketball, because we got the 2002 SEC Player of the Year, Erwin Dudley. I mean, Erwin, you talk about those Florida teams playing against those guys. I'm starting to look at this Alabama team led by Brandon Miller, Quinerly. I'm looking at the March Madness, and they kind of remind me, of that Florida team that, won back-to-back, national championships, how they kind of made that run. I'm kind of getting that type of energy for them. Me personally, that's the type of energy from what I'm seeing. What are you saying about this team and what makes them so special? And if you have a team to compare them to in the collegiate past basketball history, who would you compare them to?
I think you made a great comparison. But I think the one thing with this team, though, it's different from like the past team that we've had come through the program. They shoot a lot of 3-pointers, of course, but they can win. They can win games in different ways. They can, they've shot the ball. They hadn't shot the ball really well over the last few games, but they've learned. They've grinded out. They've gotten rebounds. They found ways to win. They found ways to make, to get into the correct offense, make big shots when they really counted. Just going back to the Auburn game, it was a constant grind, and you know how it is playing against your rival. It's always going to be a grind. But if we had been the team that you normally see, we would have easily blew Auburn out by 20, 25 points, right, without a doubt. But again, we've coming down the stretch, we've kind of struggling a little bit, and you have that as well as we shot the ball during the season. I mean, just think about it. For example, when we played LSU or whoever, like games at home. I mean, 40 points game, 50 points. I mean that's those games right there. You dream of games like that.
Right.
And we had a few games like that this year where we shot the ball extremely well. Now coming to the flip side, when you shoot a lot of 3-pointers, coming down the stretch in the end of the season, you do, your legs. You know how it is. You playing all those games. They were 30+ games right now. I mean, your legs get tired, and so you have to find other ways to win games, and that's one thing that they can do, and that's a scary sight.
Nice. Chris, you got any questions? I'm great to hear, from the one and only Chris James.
Yeah, Erwin, man. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Who would you say is the X factor to a Final Four run? Of course, Brandon Miller is that guy.
Good
But
question.
who else on this team that you think needs to be that step up to that point to where we could really make a legit Final Four run? It may be a couple guys.
Yeah. So I was about to say it's two guys for me. If you look over the course of the season, Quinerly, he came back from the ACL injury and stuff, and coming down the stretch, these last 3-4 games,
You've been big.
I mean, 5 games, he's been huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we didn't have him to step up in the way he stepped up, we don't win those games. I mean, I just think just him just being being a leader, being a vet, being in the trenches, being played in big games like that before, in the past couple of years. So he's played in games like that. And he just has an edge right now. I mean, he's coming off ACL, so it takes you time. It takes time to come back from an injury, and so he's found his groove. I just hope he continues to keep that going. The second person I would say is Clowney. He's definitely critical to what we do because he gives us a different dynamic than Bediako. Bediako gives a different dynamic as well because we can switch with Clowney. I mean, you can switch with Bediako some, but you can switch with Clowney on a consistent basis. And when you can do that, and then when Clowney's playing and when he's knocking down shots, he's rebounding. I mean, we're hard to beat. Like you said though, our guy is Brandon Miller, like without a doubt. But in order for us to be able to make a run and get to where we know we can get to, it's going to take definitely those two guys I mentioned, Quinerly and Clowney. But it's also going to take some other guys to step up off the bench as well because again, in the NCAA tournament, you're playing one game and then you got a day in between, then you play another game. And it's, and once you start to get deeper into the play, into the NCAA tournament, teams get better and better. You have teams, they get momentum. You're not able to scout like you want to. You're not able to prepare like you want to. So it's different. It's just like O said, excuse me, O said today, they're preparing for Maryland and West Virginia now because Friday they're not going to have a chance to prepare for either one of those teams because again, when you're playing in venues and stuff like that, it's time crunch. You don't get the time that you want in those venues. So, but I think we're going to be over. I think we're going to be fine though.
Awesome. So, I want to, just take it back to your career. You leading all those records, rebounding, career starts, all that stuff. Let's talk about your career. I used to, watch you guys, and this was I used to come to football for junior day. I was like a sophomore, and they used to always take us to the basketball game. Man, we would go watch y'all in Coleman as recruits and be like looking at you, Gerald Wallace, all these guys, and y'all would
Rizzo
dunking on folks. They will be like, man, this is too crazy. Some of the guys you playing with, obviously Pat Wade, all those guys, who was that guy that you played with on your team that people were like, man, this guy is the real deal? Besides yourself, Erwin.
Yeah, besides yourself.
Besides yourself.
Man, I tell people all the time, Grizzo, he's one of probably one of the most
Grizzard.
Grizzard. He's probably one of the most probably one of the most talented guys I've ever played with. From top to bottom, I'm talking about he can give you whatever you want to, left, right hand. He can dunk on you. You can pull a 3-pointer. I mean, he could do everything. He can handle the ball. I mean, he just had the total package. So if it was just one guy that I thought that, that could do it all, he was the guy that could do it. And when I say do it all, he could do it all. Like, seriously.
Nice.
Right before I got to Erwin, right before I got to UA in 2000, I used to hear about Shea Cotton. Can you tell me a little about, because everybody talks about how tough Shea Cotton was.
Shea was, I tell you, man, Shea, he was a different guy. No, I never had a problem with him. He was a good guy, man. He just, the way he grew up, and he was on the Sports Illustrated in 8th grade. So you on the Sports Illustrated 8th grade or whatever like that, people telling you you're good for an extended period of time, man. That can get to your head. And then when you come into a program or you come into a school and you think, oh, I should be, leading, I should be leading the program, and it don't happen for you, it gets frustrating. And I think that was one of the things that kind of got to him, because again, I mean, he lacked no talent. He was, he's an athletic freak, physical, strong. It was just that one of those things where he he really didn't adapt to the game that well in college, because he was just so much bigger and stronger. I'm assuming, because I'd never seen him play, prior to playing with him. He was just so much bigger and stronger from what I was told than a lot of guys, and it showed too. I mean, I'm serious. Like he was, if you remember him back in the day, he was big lefty, strong. Like I said, athletic. He could do some things.
Wow. I got one more question before I let Dan or Justin ask the question. I'm going to take it back to Uniontown, Alabama. I mean, growing up in the state of Alabama, man, about Uniontown, R.C. Hatch, Francis Marion, Key.
Yeah.
R.C. Hatch, y'all going to state championship, all these, who was y'all? Was Francis Marion y'all big rivalry being at R.C. Hatch? And I used to hear you couldn't even get in the stadium. In the gym, it would be so packed. But taking it back to high school, who was a guy that you went against who you were like, man, that guy was really good in the state of Alabama that really made you elevate your game as far as competitively?
So I'm the first part. I'm answering the first part you say about the gym, how you couldn't get in the gym. So, man, when we played against Francis Marion, like we had my high school was an older gym, but now they've renovated, remodeled, and all that stuff now. But man, like the way it was designed, they had they had some real high windows up in the gym, and they had, back in the day, now you can't do it, but they line people up all around the side of the court. So that right there was packed all the way around the court. And then when they stopped letting people in, people were climbing on top of the gym. They had knocked part of the windows out. They was watching the game from the top of the gym.
Wow.
That's how crowded, and that's how how big of a rivalry that game was.
Wow.
And again, going back to what really drove me, man. What drove me was that's really coming from a small town, right? So, me coming from a small town, not really knowing what to expect or whatever, and I always had the mindset of like I wanted to do something. I want to do something. Once I realized that I was good enough to play, I started playing AAU probably when I was like in the 10th grade because I didn't know what AAU was, and I was playing with guys like I don't know if you guys remember Marvin Stone. Marvin Stone,
yes,
one of the number one players in the country. As a matter of fact, I actually talked to Jamar Johnson. I don't know if you guys remember him. He went to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
He was the number 2 player in the country, and I was just talked to him probably about an hour ago because my nephew plays at West Virginia. He's an assistant coach at West Virginia, so I got a chance to talk to him, and I talked to him about that, man. But just being on the radar, being able to go from a small town where I'm from, and then being able to play against top tier talent like guys like that. Just going to different places, man, seeing different things. I think that pushed me more than anything, because it was like once you're the man in your area, but once you go outside your area, then you really see how good other kids are. And and it was just one of those things like, man, when you see them, you're like, okay, I got work to do.
Nice. Awesome. Dan, Justin, y'all got any questions? Because I can go all day. You know,
absolutely.
I got my list is about as long as what the list Aaron Rodgers gave the New York Jets. But Justin, I'll let it go for you.
Yeah. One of the things I want to ask you about being a big man, I know you can really appreciate the development that you've seen in Bediako. Completely different player from this past year, put on some serious muscle. He's become a force down in the paint. In your mind, what kind of a difference has he made this year? And what do you need to see him average in this tournament to really solidify a possible Final Four run?
The biggest step I think he's made, he's like I said, he put on weight, but he gets knocked back, but he's able to recover faster now.
Yeah.
He's able to hold his position. He's able to block shot. He's able to be a factor. I mean, he's a 7-footer, so especially if he's playing against undersized guys, he just need to be able to move his feet and slide with them, and he's been doing a really good job of that. You need guys like that around the rim blocking shots. When you with the guards, they can be more aggressive as well, because if they're playing more aggressive, they can push other guards to the defense, to the block shot. And so it's a big difference when you got a 7-footer around the basket that can block shots versus a 6'6", 6'7" guy. I mean, it's a really, really big difference. So but the way he's been playing though over the past, like over the course of the season, but in particular over the last, like I said, in the last few games, he just needs to keep that up. I think they've been throwing lobs to him. He's been catching them. He's been finishing them. He's been finishing around the rim, and that's what you need. And one thing I think just probably get more offensive rebounds. I think that's one of the things that we probably need to work on, or he probably can improve on. But other than that, I mean, he's playing well.
Dan,
Yes.
Dan James.
First thing, most important, I want to remind everyone to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching for the content. I got a couple of things for Erwin. The first one is, bring it back to your playing days. Tell us what led to the process of you getting into the European League, the Turkish League. What was that process like?
Man, it was different. So I don't know if some people know, some people don't. But right before I graduated from the university, I was at Portsmouth, Virginia, and I got hurt, so I was out. I sat out for like over a year with a knee injury, or I broke my kneecap. So I didn't play for like over a year or something. Went through 2 surgeries, and ended up playing my first year over in Israel. And I talked to an agent, and of course how the media paints stuff here back in America about Israel and all that stuff. And it was like, they told me, it's like, hey, if you go over here, you don't like it, you can come back home or whatever. And so got on the flight, got to Tel Aviv, and got off the plane. I'm like, man, palm trees everywhere. It was nice. I said, okay, I think I can do this. It was nice. Weather was good. The coldest it got, you only need a sweater. It didn't get any colder than that. So you couldn't beat that. Had a good year over there, and then got the opportunity to go to Turkey. Never thought that I would be or would have stayed in Turkey that long. But I tell people all the time, Turkey's my second home. They've been good to me. I'm a Turkish citizen as well.
Yeah.
So, but man, the process, it was good though. Like once I got there and got acclimated to everything, I mean, it was fine. The only thing that I really didn't care for, at the time when I first got there, was lamb. Like, it was just something that never had ate, but you go accustomed to it, and like you said, they got some really good lamb dishes there.
Nice. We got a question from the audience. Alabama Cowboy, how do you think this team compares to the team that went to the Elite Eight?
With Leon Douglas, though.
Yeah.
I thought that team went to the Sweet 16.
You missed that.
Did they go to the Sweet 16? I thought only one team make it to the Elite Eight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Kennedy Winston's team.
Yeah, me and
I think the Leon Douglas team made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nah, but I mean, if you can, man, like honestly, like that team that made it to the Elite Eight, I mean, it was one of those teams that was kind of like under the radar. I think with Chuck, Chuck came in. Chuck came in because he was a freshman my senior year, and then he made a big jump his coming to his sophomore year. But also Kennedy Winston, like he was one of the guys that we relied on, and he didn't get eligible until like the second half of my senior year, and it's hard when everybody else is playing full pace or fast pace, and then when you're coming in, you're trying to catch up,
Right.
and he was behind the 8 ball because he wasn't in any type of game shape or game speed or game rhythm either. So, but going back to that year, that Elite Eight year, they clicked. They clicked. Kennedy stepped up, played big. Petway played big. Chuck played big. They had Jamario. So man, it was a lot of guys that stepped up on that team. And again, like I said, nobody expected that team to do what they did because again, we had a lot of guys that leave it. We had a lot of guys leave. I graduated. Mo had left. Then the year before that, Grizzard had left. So you didn't know what to expect from a team like that. And they got and you get out at the right time.
Awesome. I got a few questions. I'm gonna start with. I want to give flowers to Nate Oats. What is it that you think the players like a Brandon Miller or Quinerly or Clowney or Pringer, what is it that you think these guys have bought in about Nate Oats? What do you think are some of the characteristics that make him such a unique, a great leader for this Alabama program?
So, I mean, in a program like what we have right now, when you're in a program where you got guys that can, you can shoot the basketball, play defense. If you get a rebound, shoot it. I mean, just be honest with you, like a lot of guys that want to play and they're playing offense like that because again, you're able to shoot the ball pretty much at will whenever you want to shoot the basketball, and you're encouraged to continue to shoot even if you're missing the shot. So you don't get a lot of that from coaches. Like we've been taught to okay, you shoot some, you make them. Okay, you keep shooting, but if you miss a few, try to get to the basket, get a foul. No, you stick to what you know. You kick, drive, penetrate, kick out, or hey, if you get a rebound, if you can kick it out, kick it out. Guess what? Shoot the ball, and you shoot with confidence. And again, for a guard, like that,
You
you're
love
in
him.
heaven. That's what you want to do. Now, for a guy like me, like that ain't what I want to do. Like you know what I'm saying? Because my game was different. Don't get me wrong, I could adjust to anything, but my thing was I would have had a lot more rebounds. I know that, but because I shoot a lot of ball. But you know what I'm saying? For me, I was posting up, back to the basket. I did stuff like that. I got rebounds, stuff like I did that. We don't have a traditional big guy um like that in our system because they don't want a guy like that. And so they have guys that set picks, roll, rebound, play defense. But again, if you take shots like the way we take shots, you gotta be able to play defense, and that's one of the things that has helped us a lot. Because if we didn't play defense, um, you know, if we didn't play defense, we wouldn't win as many games as we have won because we can score. Don't get me wrong, but you gotta be able to play defense. Um, and to add on to add with your offense.
Yeah, definitely on the ball defense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And that length, man, that length. What I think was very underrated is the length of our players, man. Because you think about it, we're 7 foot, 6'10", 6'9", on the front court. That's the NBA front court, man.
Yeah,
bigger than some NBA teams.
That is true. So true. I mean, like you said, if you go, just think about it. If you go to those three guys, right? And say if you decide if you want to go, Bradley's not small. I mean, he's tall too. But say if you want to go, for example, if you want to put like Welsh, if you want to play him at the 2, and then if you want to put Bradley in at the 1, or if you want to put Namari Brunette, if you want to put him in, like we do have a really really big lineup,
Right.
So or even you can possibly do this right here. You can put Gurley in there. You can put Gurley, Clowney, Miller, and Bediako in there, and then
Right.
you still got yeah.
Huge
So
line. Yeah, right.
you got options to that teams will have to face or to deal with if you decide to do that.
Right. Versatility is
yes,
big, yeah.
yes.
Against a team like West Virginia that's big, also they might take something like that, because I think our toughest game up until the Elite Eight is going to be that second round game. Just for some reason, the 8-9 matchup, that 1-8, 1-9 matchup, that 8-9 seed, I always feel like they have a point to prove. Like how we knocked off Stanford when we were 8. What were we at 8 that year?
Yeah.
And West Virginia, I watched them play in the Big 12, man, and they're a scrappy bunch, man. Maryland, when they're clicking, they're a tough bunch. They don't play well on the road, and I think what helps us is that we're in Birmingham and we can match up size. And I don't think either one of them can really score with us. Maryland's closer, but I think we're gonna have to play real big ball, and Pringle is gonna come in handy, man, off that bench when we play that second round game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I watch, like I said, I got a nephew who plays with West Virginia, so I watch, quite a few of their games this year. And they're a typical Huggins team. They try to play physical defense. But one of the things that, they do have trouble scoring at times. So that's one of the things that they do, that we have to take advantage of that. Like I said, I think at some point, our length will get to them. And I know they have some bigs as well, but I just think that overall, like if you look at it from like roster to roster, compare them, I just think we're definitely more talented than them. We just have to play.
The elite teams in college basketball, of course, have that switch internally that they flip on when it comes to postseason, and we definitely saw that on full display in the SEC tournament. We didn't resemble what we had in the past few weeks leading up to that. First part of the season, we came out both halves dominating out the gate, controlled the game from the tip, but then we kind of hit that lull where we weren't coming out with energy. We weren't really coming on strong, and we kind of relied on the second half heroics to kind of pull us out of binds. Is that something we need to be concerned about in the tournament, or do you feel like that's just a phase that teams typically go through?
Man, I mean, I think it's a phase that teams typically go through. You're gonna have games where, and especially the NCAA tournament, so you're gonna have games definitely like this where you grind out. I mean, if you think about it, it is not too many teams. I mean, some teams get blown out, but you're not. 9 times out of 10, teams don't get blown out in the NCAA tournament. Like those teams are there for a reason.
Absolutely.
Not, the 116. Okay, well, we understand that, but I'm talking about as it relates to as you kind of start getting towards the Sweet 16, 32, and all that. Like, teams are there for a reason, and it's different as well because you're playing teams. You're playing coaches and players in different venues that you've never seen or never faced before. So you're preparing. You don't know how these guys are. It's different when you play in SEC. Okay, yeah, we say, for example, we're going to play Kentucky. Okay, we know what Calipari likes to do. We know what this player likes to do, blah, blah. We watch them all year. But say, for example, Maryland or West Virginia, we don't watch them as much. We don't really know their tendencies. And then, like I said, you have a short turnaround as well that you're going to be coming off. So you just have to be your coaching staff, your managers, and all of those people, all of your personnel. They have to do a really good job of scouting, getting stuff to the players, and the players have to really take in the information at a fast pace because, again, it's Thursday, Saturday, and it's coming. So.
That's awesome. It is coming. We know it's coming. It's March Madness. We're here with Erwin Dudley. Erwin, got a few questions. I mean, I'm looking at the bracket. I'm looking at the South region. I know Chris brought up West Virginia's, how Coach Huggins teams are going to be tough. I know when I first initially saw the bracket, I was like, man, that San Diego State team could be a little tricky for us. What are your thoughts on your bracket, and who do you have in your Final Four? Let's just want to hear bracket talk with Erwin Dudley.
Hey, honestly, man, I ain't even filled my bracket out. I printed it out.
Neither.
I got it printed
You had a
out.
lot of
but I hadn't filled it
fans
out yet.
get frustrated right then.
Yeah. I printed it. I just hadn't filled it out. But I mean, I've watched. I watch a lot of basketball, so I can give you my Final Four on top. Of course, I'm gonna go Alabama South. I'm gonna go with in the East. Man, Duke has been playing well, man. They have been playing well past. But I'm gonna go with Purdue.
Purdue.
Ooh, I would mark it.
Purdue.
Okay.
I got Alabama and Purdue in the Final Four. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go West. I watch Gonzaga, Arkansas. I watch Kansas. Man, I'm telling y'all, it's Texas. I really like Texas. I really like Texas in the West. No. That's the Midwest. Sorry. I like them in the Midwest. Sorry. I like them in the Midwest. I see that now. Then we go into the West. Man, I've watched UCLA play. I really like them, but I know they got two key injuries that, they trying to overcome. I watch UConn. I ain't really feeling UConn. I'm going to go with, should I say Kansas?
Yeah.
You want to do that?
That's who I picked.
That's how I went with.
Kansas.
But a lot of times if I pick Kansas to do anything, they always end up burning me. So sometimes I tend to lean away from them.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
I didn't think they was going to be. I mean, they lost to Texas. In the Big 12. I mean,
this is tough, man.
They are.
Yeah, I watched them play when they played at Allen Fieldhouse during the regular season, and Texas had a chance to beat them then. So I wasn't surprised that they beat them, in the Big 12 tournament.
Texas has that
blue collar mentality.
Like their bigs are so athletic, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They're not. It's not like they're like 7 foot, 7'1". They're 6'9", 6'8", 6'10", but it's just they're so active. Like they play. Their defense is elite, man. They're elite defensively. Yeah. They can't score as good as we can, but I don't think they had an elite guard play. Like Marcus Carr is a bad boy, but it's just something about their team, man. Like they lock down defensively, man. They make you play to their style. They make you play their game. And like Kansas, like I said, Kansas' problem is Kansas face a team with some bigs, they're in trouble. Because like Kansas 6'8", 6'8" across the board. They're not big at all. And Kansas is missing that dominant. They usually have a 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot
center, a big dominant center, yeah.
Big dominant center, but they don't have that this year. They had McCormick last year. They don't have that this year. And I think that's going to be Kansas' downfall. They're going to run into somebody with a big that's going to kind of exploit that, and I think that's where they're going to go down.
So you got Houston losing to Texas in that Midwest region?
I do
as well.
Chris, and who's your Final Four, Chris? Let's go around the horn with everybody.
Bama, Marquette, Texas, and Kansas.
Wow. Dan, who you got?
I had Bama, Texas. It was I had Bama, Texas. I think I had the same as Chris. I thought I had UConn in there. I can't remember. I forgot. I looked at my bracket.
UConn.
Yeah, you had UConn.
Yeah, UConn's in there with Kansas, right?
Yeah.
That's what I had.
I thought about them, but man, they kind of fell off. Like they were playing good, and then they kind of fell off. So I that's why I didn't pick them.
Man, the reason I picked them, they have the shooting, they have the size as well. That's why I like UConn. Yeah. They're gonna put it together. I can assure you that.
The thing about UConn early in the year, man, watching UConn and Creighton, they look like the two best teams in the country early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
UConn and Creighton. Creighton started off hot, man. And UConn, I automatically just thought they were going to win the Big East but they kind of disappointed.
They did. They fell off. Yeah.
And Marquette actually did what you thought UConn was going to do. That's what Marquette did. Marquette surprised a lot of folks.
A lot of people.
So this is my Final Four. I got Bama, Purdue coming out of the East. My West, I'm I'm gonna go. I had UCLA on paper, but I'm gonna roll with Kansas. And this Texas, I'm kind of torn between Texas and Houston. I just think that those whole Texas type rivalries, Houston, Texas, I think that's gonna come down. So I might roll with Houston coming out the Midwest.
I ain't mad at you. And the championships in Houston, so they're gonna have extra motivation.
Yeah, they're gonna have a little motivation in
the Final Four.
Well, it all depends on too. This Sasser is hurt though, so it depends on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You're
right.
It depends on what happens with him, because they got a growing strain, and he's a guard, and that's not an easy injury to overcome, and especially with so short of time. This is a critical time of the year.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be interesting.
A sneaky game to watch is the second round game if Auburn beats Iowa. Auburn and Houston in Birmingham.
That's gonna be in Birmingham. That's gonna be.
Telling you,
Auburn just lost one of their best players.
They're gonna give them all they want, man. If they, because Auburn length man can bother Houston. Really can bother Houston.
Yeah, neither one of them really tall though.
Neither one of them really tall. No. What's your guy's name? Your big boy. The transfer they got. Isn't he about 6'10"? 6'9", 6'10".
Come out from Auburn.
Yeah, what's his name?
Braum.
Braum. Yeah, is he like?
I ain't gonna give him 6'10". Nah, he ain't 6'10". Nah, he ain't 6'10".
What do y'all think about Traore opting out?
That's what I was
that was wild. I thought that was a joke. I said,
what happened?
Yeah, the Jahvon Traore, the 5-star center. He opted out of the tournament to focus on his NBA career. Having like 3 points.
Anthony Richardson and Will Levis.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was crazy. I thought that was very odd.
But my Final Four: Alabama, Purdue, Texas, and Kansas.
Woo.
Same thing.
I mean,
I changed mine. I'm going with Texas coming out the Midwest. I'm going.
Texas, man. I tell you gotta watch Texas to appreciate them, man. I watched Texas and I was like, God, dog, these boys are here.
Yeah, they play. They go.
So, Erwin, you've played with Antoine Petway, and we've seen the videos of what he does to their team as far as bringing the energy. But what about him that you knew as a player is going to be able to give them a decided advantage in tournament play?
I mean, honestly, like what you see him doing the speeches before the game. That's who he is. He's been like that. I've been knowing him since high school, and he's always been like that. He's been one of those guys that kind of he can kind of get guys rally. He can rally guys together, and he can motivate. And he's one of the players and stuff. They love him. He's a player's coach. They can relate to him a lot. Especially with him. Roots here. So a lot of the players and stuff like that, they see that, he's been here, he's been through the trenches. So there's they have a lot of respect for him. And so, again, it's just the type of, what you're seeing in the huddles, and that's exactly the type of guy he is.
Erwin, I got one more question. I kind of heard some things, we got Coleman Coliseum, and we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do a new arena and things like that. I heard some notions from like the older players, the former players, you guys, that y'all are kind of trying to get some ball rolling, get some things rolling for the new arena. What are your thoughts? What do you think will be a good plan for the future of the basketball program? Or do you think we should upgrade Coleman? What are your thoughts regarding the arena?
I mean, honestly, man, I'm gonna be biased. I mean, I love Coleman. Honestly, at the end of the day, like, if your program is doing what it's supposed to do, like now, like, just think about it. Like, the way the program is going now, I mean, they're filling all the seats up. It's 15,000. Like I said, when I was there, the arena was full. So, and now with, everything's going on, prices are higher and stuff like that. So, of course, they're charging higher concessions or whatever it may be. No Crimson Tide Beast, no new stadium. I like Coleman.
I like Coleman too. I heard that from a certain delegation of fans. They're saying, I like Coleman. I heard that they wish they could just, I guess, bring students around more of a circular kind of
absolutely.
Like they had it back in your day. So,
March
Greg
Madness.
Byrne, if you listen to the final Wilson here with Erwin Dudley, you heard it from the legend himself. His 2 cents.
Hey,
yeah,
they can fight. Well, there's a will, there's a way, man. They can, it'll take some planning for them to do if they want to bring the crowd closer, the student section closer. It's a will, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
hey, they talk a lot about our student section now, but I gotta be honest with you, I don't think anything compared to Mark's Madness back in our day.
Yeah,
that student section, man, we were
Mark's
Madness.
Just had the white hat on. Hey, yeah, I was just looking at it, man. Back to the Auburn thing. It says that Broom is 6'10", and Cardwell is 6'11", and Jalen Williams is 6'8". But I know
they're
not that tall.
Exaggerating. No,
it's nowhere near that. They're stuffing like they had Dan in the paper 6'7". Ross they had Dan at 6'7". What they had you Dan 6'7"?
Yeah, 6'7". I got looks.
You have me down as a 6'3" guard, man. I'm barely 6'1".
They exaggerate them by a couple inches.
I do want to end on this. I love thinking about the game. How we grew up on March Madness, and how it meant so much, and just the energy. It reminds me of this team. I picture one player. I think of Quinerly, and it reminds me of Matan Cleaves. How he had Michigan State.
Yeah,
how he made that run. To the national championship, and I think. Quinerly can have that type of impact for us, the Crimson Tide, moving forward, and I think we will. Erwin, I'll put it to you. Is there any team, or I put it to everybody, Chris, Dan, Justin, is there any player or, teams in the past that you think can relate to Alabama's, somebody on the team or the roster?
I can do that comparison you just made. I think it was a good one, but I would say that Quinerly is a more dynamic scorer than he is.
Akimba Walker.
Ooh,
yeah.
He took over.
I put it towards the Carmelo, Brandon Miller, comparing Brandon Miller to that run Carmelo had as a freshman at Syracuse.
Nice. With Hakeem Ward and all them.
Yeah.
Clowney like Ward.
Yeah, Chris and I were talking about that team. Yeah, we compared them to that team years ago. Yeah, we need somebody to get hot. Like what's the guard that they had?
McNamara.
McNamara. Yeah.
We need somebody to get hot. But one thing I want to say, you had been mentioned. Man, if we get Mark Sears playing like he did the first half.
Yes.
I think our chances tremendously increase. Yeah, if we playing like the first half, Mark Sears, we'll be okay.
You go through time. Yeah, you go through that, man. You just gotta keep plugging away. You go through that. Like, if the SEC championship game, he came out first 3-pointer.
Set the tone.
Set the tone, and then it was kind of like he didn't get a lot going after that, but it just what I'm saying. It just you as a player, you go through stretches like that, and you just have to find a way to dig yourself out of it. Because again, the season's not gonna stop because you're not having a good game.
At one point he was playing like he was going to be the SEC Player of the Year. He was carrying the team literally.
The thing with Quinerly, if that first one goes down for Quinerly, boy, it's about to be a long night.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long.
Quinerly hit that first one.
Yeah.
He getting to his bag. Then he ain't gonna stop.
Microwave Benny Johnson.
Yeah. So Erwin, one more question. You being an SEC Player of the Year, we gotta ask about Brandon Miller. This guy, number 9 pick coming out of Tennessee. Recruit coming out of Tennessee. His impact. Who do you? I've heard things from Paul George comparisons. A little Tatum. Kind of who do you see when you see his game, what are some of the things that you just stands out when you look at a Brandon Miller, his style of play, his smooth, he's just a hooper. What are some of the things you observe about how great this guy is?
No, like you said, he is man, he's one of those guys, man. I tell you, man, he can do a lot with the ball. He can handle the ball. And I made the comparison at the beginning of the season. He is if you guys remember Jabari Smith at Auburn last year.
Yeah.
He's a way better version than him.
Yeah.
Like he could really put the ball on the floor. He can shoot the ball better. You can run offense through him. He can handle the ball, bring it up. He can do a lot of different things. Yeah. And with that being said, that will make him so dynamic. I mean, if you think about it, just look at when Jabari Smith was at Auburn, they ran stuff, but guess what he was doing? He's sitting up in the corner right here, ready to shoot the ball. He really didn't put the ball on the floor like that. Well, you got Brandon Miller. They running screen and rolls with him. I mean, he's ISOing. They doing little post up at the free throw line. So they doing a lot of different little slip screens with him. And so when you have a guy as dynamic as him that can score and do so many things, guess what? Teams got to always keep their eye on him. You got to respect him. I mean, he moves around to different places. But also too, one thing that a lot of people probably don't realize or recognize. One thing he does, what he's been doing really well as of late, is following his own rebound.
Oh yeah,
he shoots the ball. He's
right.
following the shot, getting the rebounds, and he got a lot of over the last few games that I can remember. He's been getting a lot of rebounds, off missed shots because again his shot had been falling, but he was still following the ball.
Awesome.
I like that comment by Jay Smith. That's not Jabari Smith, is it?
It might be. I think that's definitely one of the pluses going into this tournament is overcome the amount of adversity. I know as players, y'all face a lot of adversity, a lot of pressure on and off the court, but I don't think there's anybody in the land who can compare to what this team has gone against, man. And I think this is going to serve them well going into the tournament.
Yeah, I think going to Nashville, having to deal with the media, asking crazy questions, I think they really embraced it and they kind of really used it as motivation. It's like you heard Pet way before the game. Listen, it's we all we got. It's on us. Nobody's feeling sorry for us. So I think those guys got the right mindset. So I will ask this, Erwin, is Brandon Miller the Naismith best player in the country?
Tell me somebody's better.
Right. Not a doubt. That's right.
You heard it here first.
I mean, ain't nobody better.
Nobody.
Nobody. I mean, even like with the Wooden and all that stuff, it ain't even no comparison. Like what he's done. I mean, just think about if you think about this, and if you take, for example, you take him off our team, we don't win as many games as we've won. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you take, I'll go even further. If you go take Purdue, if you take Edie off them, they don't win as many games as they. But Brandon Miller, he's way more dynamic than he can do a ton more than he can. Right. So, like I said, tell me somebody's better.
You're right. I agree.
Dan and I, we were talking about who's the last freshman that was as skilled and polished as good as Brandon Miller to come through this. We couldn't remember who was the last freshman that was actually this NBA ready, this polished, this skilled. I mean, the dude shoots 40% from three.
All right.
Open 3-point shots.
At that size, yeah.
He's 60%. When was the last freshman? Who was the last freshman really to come in? We said we thought Anthony Davis, but even Anthony Davis wasn't this polished as a freshman. He was athletic. You knew he was going to be a great, but he wasn't even this polished as a freshman at Kentucky. He was dominant, but he wasn't this great.
I think of a KD, his impact his freshman year. I was like,
probably Durant, probably last college year.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
Wow, man.
Well, I got a couple of questions before we kind of move into closing segment. One, going back to you, if you would, for the audience, for the diehard fans, man, what was your favorite moment or best moment at Alabama? Second question, Who do you see as being an under the radar guy on this team that can make a difference in the tournament run?
Man, we've already talked about my favorite moment. Just being able to, being able to be Florida. That's probably one of my fondest memories. I always think about that moment right there, like, it's just something else. That right there, that right there probably, and winning the SEC Player of the Year. I think that's as well. The one of the key people I think that outside of Clowney and what's her name? I think one of our shooting guards whether it's Griffin, whether it's Welsh or Burnett. One of those guys got to step up and be big for us. I'm telling you, because we gonna need that. And Griffin came in. I mean, he came in Sunday, and he knocked down some shots, got some tough rebounds, and he's coming along. But we have to. Well, he has to continue to progress for us.
Yeah, I think his issue is getting a little more physical. That's the issue.
I mean, he's a freshman, but I mean, he's again, he's playing some significant minutes as a freshman, and it's just part of it. I mean, but his experience now is going to help him. Definitely going to help him in the future. Because he'll definitely be stronger. Coming into his sophomore year next year.
He's gonna be a beast next year, man. He's gonna be a beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing just getting him to play through contact with Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That team next year is gonna be that team next year is gonna be tough too.
Yeah.
What's coming in. I think he's gonna hit that portal. It's gonna be easy to get guys out of portal now.
But one thing I don't want to get lost is this is our moment. This is our moment. This is our moment.
Enjoy this moment, because again, it's hard, and you guys, you can relate to it from football. It's in other sports, it's hard to find teams where they mesh and they click as good as those guys are, and you have to enjoy the moment, because these teams, like a team like this, is almost like a once in a lifetime team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if you look at again, we can relate it back to football, how it's always a constant thing where we got these guys in plug and play. That's a great thing. And then sometimes it don't work out. And then sometimes you bring in, you recruit guys, and you say, oh, I can plug him in. He can do what this guy can do. Well, guess what? They don't happen like that all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So we just have to enjoy this time right now, whatever. Because again, if we do it next year, that'll be great as well. That means there's something special we're building. But again, you can't don't look too far ahead. I'm looking at it now.
Right now.
Right now. The time is
now. At it now.
Time is now.
This is awesome. It. This is our moment. Yeah. Brandon Miller don't grow on trees. We'll see another Brandon Miller, man.
Hey. I mean, no matter who we face in the tournament, they don't have a Brandon Miller. So that's our competitive advantage, and we got to take advantage of it. Yeah,
that's true. We enjoy these next few games, because we won't see him in the Bama uniform again.
Right. Hey, you might not even see him. Hey, as soon as the tournament over, bro, you ain't gonna see him.
He might not even do the celebration. It's gonna be Adam Silver waiting on him. Come on, gentlemen. He's gonna be a number 2 pick.
Right. He's taking his last class in Tuscaloosa, baby.
Yeah. And that's what we have to look at. No matter who we face, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Hey, Erwin, he gonna pull a Gerald Wallace.
He out there.
Hey,
all jokes. Hey, Clowney probably be going too.
Yeah.
I heard that.
I think it depends on what type of tournament he has. If he plays like he played Sunday, he might be gone.
Yeah, if he make a lot of noise.
He's been right now. They've been projecting. He's been playing well. Like even during the year they had him as a first round pick. And now it's still like he's one of the youngest players in the SEC. So I mean,
I think he's gonna step up big in this tournament, and that could be, as Chris Point said, if he make a run, make a name for himself throughout this tournament, lead Bama to a Final Four national championship.
I wouldn't be mad at him. I won't take it to a ship. I wouldn't be mad at him.
For his sake, only if he's a lottery pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, only a lottery pick.
Yeah, only a lottery pick. That's only, if he can be guaranteed lottery pick, I wouldn't be upset at all.
Yeah.
Because if he comes back next year and get in that weight room like Bediako did,
definitely,
and take that next step, man, he'll be a top 10 pick.
Right.
Easily. Awesome. Well, that's it for me. I don't have any questions. I'm just over here. I feel like I asked all the questions. I was just over here in excitement asking Erwin all this.
You did a great job, man. You definitely,
man.
You definitely fanboyed.
I mean, I'm like, I need Erwin autograph, man. It's like, man, this is.
Hey, man, I need to get your autograph, man.
You players too. You Omega man, ain't you, Erwin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, root to the bros. But yeah, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. Erwin, thanks for spending your time. Hopefully, listen, if Bama get to rolling this weekend, I'm one of them superstitious types that if we rolling this weekend, I'm be like, listen, we're gonna need Erwin for next weekend until we win a national championship. So
that's right.
Back home to keep the tradition rolling.
I'll be here.
Come on.
Gotta keep it going, man. Don't say nothing up.
That's right.
Hey, I gotta wear the same shirt.
I me too. I'm like,
oh yeah.
We gonna have the strappers on your back, man, and carry it.
Yeah, man.
I'm there. I
He's
got
done
you.
before.
I got you.
Hey, we got the Fab Five right here.
I got 5-5 for you, baby. 5 hard 5.
You said 5 hard?
5 hard 5.
That's right.
They hate to see me coming in the ring. They knew it was gonna be a long night.
I give you a couple rebounds. That's about it. I'll give you back 2 rebounds.
Erwin, it was somebody on here. They left a comment. Said I remember Erwin in high school. RC Hatch, Aiden Howell. Somebody.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Man, he's an Erwin Alabama legend.
Librarian at Hatch.
Yes. I see it now. Yeah. It's Howell. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome, man.
Well, let's go around the room. Everybody pop what they got coming on next. Tell people how they can find you on social media, all that good stuff. I'll start off with our guest, Erwin. First of all, thank you again for being on. We greatly appreciate you. Tell the folks what you got going on. Pop whatever you're promoting right now. And then tell everybody how they can find you on social media.
Did we lose him?
Did he run out of minutes? I guess we'll come back to him. Matt, you lead us off, buddy.
I mean, there goes Erwin.
Oh, there he is. All right.
Yeah, I go.
Oh, you want me to reintroduce you to Erwin? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got Erwin Dudley back here again, the SEC 2002 Player of the Year. Erwin, how can you be reached? Perfect time.
Cricket Wireless is not his friend.
Hey, listen, I'm on Facebook, Erwin Dudley, Instagram, Erwin_Dudley35. Again, what I'm doing, man, just taking time with my kids and spending time with other kids, man, and just trying to be a positive influence to them.
That's awesome.
That's about it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're having a positive influence. Unlike Chris trying to have an OnlyFans.
Hey man, I gotta
make money on the side.
Oh, you got OnlyFans?
Yeah, Chris got OnlyFans out here, man.
Man, Matt got an OnlyFans going deep 11.
That's Chris over there, man. Promo code 32 over there, man. You get a 20% discount.
Mine's covered too.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm trying to be like Erwin, be positive in the community, but just thank you for coming to Final Wilson. Listen, Bama rolling this week. We're gonna have you on next week. You can always find me Facebook, Twitter, everything, Football University on Monday nights. But at the end of the day, it's all about Final Whistle, man. Come here, tune in. We'll be here. And like I said, Erwin, I'm holding it to you. Bama rolling. We're going to have you here next week.
Listen, let me
I'm keeping the tradition.
Holler at me. Like I said, I'll let you get back on.
Yeah. Chris?
Hey, man, you can find me on Facebook, Chris K. James Sr., on Twitter, at Coach Chris James. On Instagram at I think it's CKJ Senior SR32. Black Planet.
Oh my goodness.
The Black Stallion 999.
No.
Black Stallion.
No.
I'm like Dan the only person that still has a Cotton Club account.
Well, everybody know me. You know, if you can't reach me by phone, it's not a good chance of reaching me. I'm old school. But you can find me at on Twitter. I think I got I'm up to 3 followers now at Final Whistle Dan. And you know, you catch me here, of course. You know, this is my piece right here. You know, with you guys, I appreciate everything and the content that we bring. This is my piece away from the work life. You know what I'm saying? So you catch me here every week. Every week, same bat time, same bat channel. And hit that like button to keep me relevant.
Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We definitely need it. We appreciate everybody in the chat, and we appreciate those who are going to show love in the comment section for the replay. For the Bama Standard, if you missed out on the show earlier tonight, we have Blake Sims on. He helped us promote Jalen Milroe. There is a big controversy going on right now. Yes, there is a quarterback battle going on in Tuscaloosa this spring. But a lot of people have unfairly written off Jalen Milroe. And we brought Blake Sims on tonight to remind folks about his story, and how it compares to what Jalen may be facing right now. And it's more so kind of bring people back down to earth and allow them to give both quarterbacks the opportunity. If you missed that, you definitely need to go back and check that out. Tomorrow night, the Developmental Focus Points at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Bo Scarborough, Blake Sims, Christian Jones, and Trent Richardson. Definitely check out what we got going on. Man, Erwin, always a blessing to have you, sir. We greatly appreciate you being here with us.
I appreciate it. I do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Great having you on, brother.
Glad to have
you, man. Appreciate it.
Well, that'll do it for us, man. Y'all have a good night. Roll Tide. Let's bring that championship home.
All right, let's go, Bama. Let's go.
All right. Let's